Are you making critical business decisions based on guesswork? Most leaders are. Here's how to fix it. Today, we're going to dig into business decisions made off of data. I know data sounds real super boring, but data is all around us. Companies have been built on data. Think of Google, Amazon, Netflix. They're all based on data. So here are 5 practical tips on how to make business decisions based off of data and analytics. My name is Matt. I'm your fractional CTO. I've been in the industry for a quarter of a century, and in my 25 years of experience, I've used a lot of data to help people make better decisions. Sometimes we think one thing and the data shows something else. One of my favorites is when a user says they clicked certain things on a website and they went through a certain path and then they experienced a bug. And then when I go look through the logs, or one of the team members looks through the logs, that's not what happened. So that's a good point of data where we're not trying to call them out. We're not trying to call them that they are lying or anything like that. But it's one person's perception versus the data. This is true for business owners and executives. A lot of times we will think one thing, but the data will show us something else. So here's your 5-step process. The first one, start with a business goal. Everything should start with a business goal. What is your business goal? And the goal needs to be concrete. Some leaders say, I want to grow my business. Okay, that doesn't mean anything. I want to double revenue. Okay, still doesn't mean anything. Over what period of time? Over a month? Over a decade? If you want to double revenue, what does that look like? And what is the measurable timeline that you want to double your revenue? So work around a specific goal that you want to achieve. That's the most important part. For instance, if you say, I want to increase sales by 25% over the Q4 of this year. Great. Now we can work with something. So there's step 1. Step number 2. All right, that's tip number 1. Always start with a business goal. Tip number 2, focus on the right data. So don't just record all data and then analyze everything. Sometimes that's too much. Take your goal and record data around that goal. You want to increase business sales by 25% over Q4. Great. So what data do you need to log and analyze to get to that goal? You're probably going to want to log a lot of sales, outbound calls, leads, your ad spend, and the click-through rate, all those types of things. And then you need to have actionable KPIs tied to those. I worked with one grocery store franchise, and they had this big recipe module that we were building for them. They said it was very popular, and we started building it. I didn't really think it was going to be that popular, but that was my opinion at that time. Then we finally got access to the logs as we started building it. And lo and behold, it was not popular at all. Why are we building something that's not popular? Have you ever made a recipe from a grocery store? I haven't. They used to have those little cards. Yep. The kids would always go and grab 1 million of those cards. We'd have 20 of them when we got home. And we made 0. I've never made one. So it's wasted effort, actually not to log data, but it's wasted effort to work on the recipe module when once we look at the data, we know that's not where people are going. Okay, tip number 3, make space for aha moments. This may sound kind of nebulous, but regularly review your data to spot new patterns. Data is all about patterns and pattern recognition. And if you look at the data in the right way, if you have a good data analyst, they will be able to see things that most people won't. I remember when one of my first clients, I was brand new at this whole consulting thing. I'd been in the industry for a while, so I had some experience, but I didn't know what I didn't know, right? And we were building this customer portal. Obviously, all the developers were on workstations. We didn't use our phones for that kind of stuff. Phones were fairly new. And when we deployed it, we saw the data analytics from the logs. Most people were using their phone. We had not designed it mobile first. Mobile first wasn't even a thing. Once we saw the data, we had to pivot and we had to make it a little more responsive for phones. But had we not looked at that data, had we not left room, we wouldn't have recognized that was an actual need. Tip number 4, move fast from your analytics to action. So we log the data and then we analyze it and then we act. We can't just analyze. Analyzing doesn't do anything. We need to act on it. So take immediate steps, even if it's a small change. And it is best to make small changes, because sometimes if you change too many things, you've twisted too many dials. You don't know which dial made the impact and which dial made it better, which dial made it worse. You change 5 of them, that whole combination could throw things off. But if you change one at a time and just one click to the right, one click to the left, then you can see if your changes are making an impact and if they're improving things. Number 5, make this a habit. We all know that we should do certain things, but we don't always do it. I heard a phrase, common sense is not always common practice. When you have regular intervals where you'll analyze data, and you, not meaning the founder, but your team, when you have regular check-ins with your data analysts and things like that, you can really start to glean some insight into what needs to change. And then you can grow based off of your data. So small weekly or bi-weekly meetings, let's touch base, let's see what's going on. Let them dig into the data, let them create the reports, and let them do their expert analysis. And you'll find that they will have some ideas that you never thought of. I also have a quick download if you want to view another little framework on how to make data-driven decisions. I'll include a link in the description. And as always, book a call with me, get 15 minutes on my calendar. I'd love to chat and see how I could help. So here are the 5 tips again. Number 1, start with a business goal. Always critical to start with a business goal. A lot of times we just want to do something to make something shiny. Well, no, let's start with the goal. Number 1's our goal. Number 2 is focus on the right data and collect the data. And then number 3 are those aha moments. Where do we have those? Where can we find those? And then number 4, take decisive action. Data without action is not worth anything. And then number 5, rinse and repeat, right? Do this over and over again. Let's have a pattern and a cycle where we analyze data and make better decisions. I hope you found this useful. Let me know what you're going to track next. What are your business goals and what data is associated with those goals? Feel free to subscribe. We'd love to have you. Like the video and share, and I'll catch you again next time.